Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. My name's Leah and today I am bringing you another episode in my ADHD and planning videos. So I have already done two videos which I'll link below. One of them was introducing my ADHD and how I plan for my ADHD. Another was how to plan with ADHD and the things to avoid and what you can do to help you. And I really spent a lot of time on that one, and yeah, it was really fun to make. So 10 tips there. And then this one is about how to use the planners to manage your ADHD. So let's talk about the challenges first of all. So if you have ADHD, for me in particular, but for a lot of people, the challenges are that you have quite a lot of distractions or you're distracted very easily. There's an element of forgetfulness and time loss. So it might be that I've forgotten appointments and meetings before. I've very much appointments. That's terrible. I never if I've got a hair appointment, I haven't written it down straight away. I've forgotten about it. So things go out of my head, but also putting them so far in advance that I forget about them and I haven't reminded myself. And then the time loss is getting involved in something that you enjoy, thinking it will take 10 or 15 minutes, and it inevitably you get lost in a time hole. The other challenge is motivation, and finding the motivation to do things that you don't want to do is really hard when you have ADHD. And on the flip side is the hyper focus or hyperfixation. If you really enjoy something, you are going to want to do it all the time. And I used to say my brain fizzes, like when I used to talk about this before without knowing that I had ADHD, the brain fizzing was something that was just so, like, it happened with everything from people to ideas to food, so anything that I hyperfixated on, and it's always been that way all of my life. And I mean, right now I'm in a hyperfixation and hyperfocus for YouTube videos, which is why there's so many, but that might not last. Probably won't, because mine come in like 12-week. For some reason they come every 12 weeks. It's a thing that I do. Okay. So how do we tackle those things? So if you struggle with those things yourself, even if you haven't got ADHD or any sort of neurodiversity, but you do struggle with distractions and forgetfulness and motivation, then I have some ways to plan and use the planner that can help you. So I was watching a video recently, and I'll link the video that I was watching below because I can't remember who it was, so apologies. And they were talking about time blocking and really timing the things that you have to do so that you know and recognise how long things take. Because something that happens when you've got ADHD is you think things are not going to take as long as they are, and then you get all overwhelmed and they take a bit longer because you haven't set that time properly aside. So I have put some spreads together because you know I like to do that. Where have I done it in here? Where did I do it? I should have bookmarked it, shouldn't I? Where did I do it? There, here we go. So I've put some spreads in this one. So I wanted to talk about how different people can use it in different ways. So time blocking is a really important one. Let me just get in closer so you can see. So time blocking here is where you can colour or block off some time that you can really get down into the detail of what you need to get down in the detail of. And for me, it's like even down to making sure I wake up, shower, get dressed, have a cup of tea, walk the dogs. That takes a good 2.5 hours in the morning, which seems a lot of time, but I know that it takes that long because in between that, like the cup of tea, I've put half an hour, I'll be in bed with that cup of tea. I want that time to reflect, to have some meditative moments for myself. That's what I'm doing before the chaos ensues, and also walking the dogs before I go to work really helps me. So I walk the dogs and then I go straight into my office and I start working. It feels like I've had that journey into work. So something like that helps me to just get into work mode. But all this stuff in before is I'm still getting out of sleep mode. I'm not ready for the work day. So then I have got work refer to my weeks for work structure, and I have a weeks here. And I'll show you some of the structure that I've put together. I can show you the structure, but I can't tell you exactly what it is. But I can show you other structures as well that might help you out. I've put some time in for social media because social media is a really big part of what I do and my life, and you know, everything that revolves around my shop and stuff like that. Social media is a big thing. So I do like to film, edit and upload on a lunchtime a lot of the time. Sometimes it's on the weekends, but I like to film on those lunchtimes because one, I don't want to just sit and eat and be quiet. So I'll have my lunch really quickly. It's always better for lighting during the day. So I film at this point. So in my lunch hour, I will film, edit and upload, and I always do the same. You'll probably notice that I don't really edit videos very much because if I had to do that, then I would probably lose any sort of motivation to do it in the future. Then I've put in work again. So my hours are 9 till 5:30 or 8:30 till 5, whatever that might want to be. And so I put those in for those times. Then I've put cooking for kids, half an hour, cooking for us. So we do different things because our children have sensory issues over food. And we don't want the same as them every night. And it's always very simple stuff. So we cook for the kids and then cook for us. And then on a Monday, obviously, there is time when our children are at Monday Club and then we get to chill out. So I've put that in there. But that is all personal and home stuff. Then I've allowed myself half an hour here to sort of social media scroll, write any comments, watch anything. And then I've got to put on a wash. Now I've put half an hour for that. Putting on the wash does take half an hour. By the time I've got the clothes and put it in the washing machine, putting the washing machine on, that's half an hour. I haven't actually put the rest of it, which is to take the clothes out and all of that, because inevitably I'll probably forget. If I wanted to, I would have to put it in here. But by this time I'm shattered, so it'll probably stay in the washing machine till the next morning, or Em will have done it because we do share that, but this is really my part. Then I've got half an hour to do my face care and get ready for bed, and then the wind down, which I've got purple and the orange because I'll probably be on a bit of social media at that point as well, but it is trying to wind down, so I try and avoid social media where I can. So that's time blocking, is actually physically going in and blocking out the time. You could either do it before your day starts, so actually get it done like the night before, or you could do it while you're actually doing it. I don't see what the benefit with that would be if you're trying to motivate yourself to do things and actually do that. One of the things I do at work is if I've got meetings, I plot those in, and then so ignore all of this, this is just personal, but if it was work, I'd plot in the meetings in one colour. Then I would put around those meetings time when I need to work on certain projects. So I'd put the project name and half an hour. If I do half an hour stints, I am more likely to get the job done. If I put in 1 or 2 hour stints, I'm more likely to be distracted. So I do things like I do the time blocking, and I also put in things like do half an hour of work, and then I put 10 minutes in to make a coffee and sit down and have a little bit of coffee. Then I put another half an hour in. Then I might put 10 minutes so I can go on social media. And although that seems like a lot of time on company time, I am very focused in those half an hour, or I give myself little rewards. If I manage to get all of my half an hours done, I can, at this point at lunchtime, I can treat myself with something. Whatever it is, it might be what I'm hyper fixated on. The treat is to watch a bit of YouTube. So in order to manage my time blocking, I make sure there is space for me to do the things I enjoy, because otherwise I just won't do any of it. And if you're somebody with an ADHD brain, a lot of the time it's really hard to do the things that you don't want to do, but it's really easy to get sucked into the things that you want to do. So that's where the distractions come in. So prioritizing things is really important. Making sure that you prioritize the tasks that really need to be done. So I usually write down a to-do list in the day, and I'll just show you how I do it in here. Actually, it might be easier. Let me bring this back up a bit. There we go. So in my work, this is next week's because I can't show you anything in it, but I put my meetings in, then I put my top 3 tasks per day, but as well as that, I put in my priority for the day. This is the thing that has to be done no matter what on this day. Like if it's 1 or 2 things, then I have to do them. It's a priority, they must be done. These are things that I need to get done in order to keep within a time scale, but it's not so much of a problem. There's still a task that needs to be done, but the priority is in here. So I'm very much led to this side of the page. I know what needs to be done. I can do that in my first half hour. If I need to get it done, I'll get it done. As I'm going along though, things pop into my head, things that I need to do. I will put that in a bullet list here, and I'll transfer as the week carries on what needs to go into there, what can be carried over to the next week, what I can delegate to somebody. That all goes in there. When I'm on my meetings, I like to take very minimal notes. So I do like give myself this bottom bit here, especially if it's notes to do with anything that I'm working on, tasks. Other notes, longer notes, any meeting things that I want to capture do go in the back of my weeks. Then I like to have a next week. If any tasks come out of here or any of these meetings, I like to put them in for next week, knowing that they've got to go in there. So I'm not cluttering up too much of this side of the page, and I'm using my weekends. So I do that because I need to know what my priorities are. If I don't prioritize, then I just don't do it, because if it's not a priority, then it will just fall under the radar. And it's really bad when you say things like that, because you think, oh, why can't I just have a brain like everyone else's? It just won't work for me if I do it any other way. So I've put different ways that you could log your time. Now here I've actually broken it down into person, but you could actually plot the time that you want to put in by what the priority is, what you need to get done. So imagine it was personal time, school, personal, social media and work, plotting in what needs to be in there and actually just breaking it down even further into little squares, like here where I've put some squares of what needs to happen. So that's an opportunity if you wanted to see it in that way, in a bit more of a Gantt chart way. You could even write down on here, you could write down what it is that is the priority and then plot it against here. So I've done time blocking in a different way here. I've just done it with pen. So I've actually said what I need to do, and then I've put these are my core work hours. These are the focus time areas. This is when I know that I've got some peace and quiet and I don't need any distractions. So I'll put that in focus time, and then I will break it down even further in my Outlook calendar, which I find much easier to use because then it reminds me that I've done that. I also use Alexa. So I use her to time things. I put a timer on her, just ask her to put on half an hour. Once that alarm goes off, I can just stop. I can tools down just for a bit of a break.
Sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
She heard me say her name. Talking about the way that this is set out, I did mention just jotting down that to-do list. I struggle to do it in another format. I've tried some productive ways, and every time I've done it, I've just become, it's just a tick box, but I just can't do it. I've done it, I've had it in lots of different things, and at the end of the day I end up ticking everything, but it doesn't actually motivate me to do more. The list is what motivates me to do more, and physically crossing something off a list is really satisfying, so I like to do that. One of the things that I noticed about myself is that, and actually it's been really lovely because I'm not the only person, somebody did comment on my last video. My most productive times are early in the morning and late at night. During the day, I'm so easily distracted. If I could change my work time to here and here, I'd be laughing. So for example, I do have a lot of deadlines with my job. I tend to wake up quite early in the morning and do the bulk piece here. I allow myself some time for a bit of a break in the morning before actually work starts. And then after work, I will get quite a lot done before the morning. So I know that if I'm easily distracted, then at least it's been done. So I find that my most productive is very early in the morning and very late at night. And it's weird because you'd think that I'd be a morning or a night person, but I'm both. My brain is most active then. That's when the fizzing starts. Oh my goodness, nighttime is the worst for that. So if I know that I have my most productive times there, or it might be that, you know, between the very first part of your morning is your most productive time at work, do everything in that time that needs to be done, the priorities, and then, you know, block out the time in the afternoon and do the time blocking to keep you focused. But if you lose focus, then you know you haven't done anything that's going to detriment the position that you're in. So they're ideas in order to keep, you know, your planner productive. I would say putting time for the things you like to do aside in your plan is really important to how you manage your distractions. So like I said, I've got YouTube film edit upload. I'm really focused on that at the moment in my brain. And so I've put that time aside, which gives me that treat, gives me the thing that I want to do, allows me to do it, and then I can move away from that. And I know that I've done it. I don't need to do anything else. I've had my quota for the day. So that's how we do that. I always say something really silly before I cough. Sorry. I was like, that's how we do that. Who says that? That's what I do, is what I was meant to say. But I had to cough, so I was getting really confused in my head. So write things down immediately, right? So as soon as I get an appointment, so hair appointments are the one for me, and doctors, anything like that. They'll go, okay, your next appointment's on the 18th of December at 12:20. Do you need a bit of paper? No, I'll remember that. I never remember it. Never. And then I'll go, oh, I think I've got an appointment this week at some point, but I can't remember when. The amount of times I've had to ring the doctor to ask when my appointment is. And they're like, well, why didn't we could have just given you an appointment card? You're like, no, it's okay. I just need to write it down in my diary. Take out a smaller one with you, or even jot it down in your phone. If you want to put it on paper, take out your weeks with you. I mean, even this B6 is really small. I could take this in my handbag and I would absolutely have the space to put it in. Just write it down straight away. But also, if you write it down, go back a few weeks and start putting in little reminders. Don't forget you've got a hair appointment in 2 weeks. Don't forget you've got a hair appointment in a week. And then you've at least put some time aside, and you've also reminded your family that this is happening, that you don't want to double book anything. Because I'm a sucker for when Emma goes, oh, shall we do this on this day? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure nothing's like happening. And there's always inevitably something happening. So put the time aside, try and remember, and just constantly put little reminders into, even if it's not in the actual day, putting it into the bottom, or having it as a, do you know, it would be really good if you had a little calendar attached, or just something that's just like, these are the appointments that are for next week, and it folded out. It was always there. So try and find ways to ensure that you are reminding yourself that things are coming up, because planners are great for putting in dates, but they're not good at reminding you, where things like something like Outlook, for example, that you use every day at work, it's got a reminder on it. So, I love it, but I actually don't want to use a digital calendar. I find them really frustrating. I never remember to put anything in. So writing it down, but then adding your reminders yourself, so that when you're looking at your week, you can go, oh, yeah, next week I've got such and such. So, you know, I think it's really important to try and do that. Do I do that myself? No, because I actually only thought about it yesterday and thought, why don't I do that? So it's something I'm going to put into practice myself. If you don't put it down immediately, just tell Alexa. I'm hoping she didn't hear me this time. That's why I paused. Just let her know. Like if I'm shopping lists are the worst for me. I say, oh, we need this on the shop. Do I remember it? No, never. Not in a million years. So what I do now is I tell her the thing that I tell that is from Amazon. I tell her that I need that on my shopping list, and then my Amazon app lets me look at my list, my shopping list. So good. And I think that is really important to put those down. If you miss something, don't panic. Like, don't worry about it. You'll remember it next time, or you'll remember to plot it down next time. I think a lot of people get really anxious that they're missing things, and they might think, oh, well, this doesn't work for me. Maybe it doesn't. Try something else. So if you're, so one of the other things that I said in terms of how our brains work is that forgetfulness and the time loss. I think you just spend more time on the things that you enjoy, and you think you've only done 10 minutes of it, and then you look up and you're like, oh my God, 3 hours has passed. I think if you just make sure that you set that time aside, like I say, I think it'd be really important to do that. So motivation is the biggest part that is really hard. And I think the biggest way to motivate yourself is to physically plan when you can do the things you enjoy. So once I've put the washing in, taken it out and put it away, then I can sit on my phone for half an hour. Once I've done this, I can have a bath and enjoy that. Once I've done this, then like give yourself the counteract everything that you don't want to do with something you want to do. So it motivates you to get the job done. I mean, obviously getting the job done, and it's a job you actually need to do at work, motivation should be, I've still got my job and I'm being paid for it. But that isn't how an ADHD brain works. Figure out what it is that you want after you've done your focus time. And I think it's really important to try and do that. I hope this has helped in some way. I've obviously done some example spreads, but I've spoken around the way that you can do them to help your ADHD, how you can motivate yourself more. I've spoken about how you can maybe help with the forgetfulness and the time loss, how you can cultivate your productive times, and how you can put some time aside and ensure that you've always got the right appointments in the right place and you know about them. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a thumbs up. If you could subscribe, that would be absolutely lovely. You don't have to, of course, but it would make my day. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.